What up, faithful? You're watching the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Sr. Today's show presented to you by our friends at Manscaped. Right now, you can get 20% off and free shipping on the most elite men's grooming products by simply going to manscaped.com/49ers. Enter the promo code 49ers for that deal to apply. We'll tell you more about their products coming up here in just a few moments. Following Trey Lance's really impressive growth and development on Sunday and that win against the Houston Texans, he is starting to receive a lot of praise. And I think a lot of this praise is being heaped upon Trey Lance after people have been able to watch the highlights, dive deep into the film to see truly what he was able to do in between the lines on Sunday. And there's no question that to start that game against Houston, he was really up and down. Missing throws, he seemed to be indecisive and uncomfortable in the pocket, but with more reps, he got more comfortable, and you really got to see that all-world talent on display with his athleticism as a runner and his elite arm strength as a thrower. Next-gen stats had some really fascinating breakdowns of Trey Lance. Do want to pass along those stats from next-gen because it goes to show you Trey Lance posing a threat to the defense, throwing the ball deep down the football field. Here's what next-gen had to say about Lance's performance on Sunday. Trey Lance brought a vertical element to the 49ers offense in his second career start. Lance averaged the most air yards per attempt at 11.5 yards and threw for the most yards on 10-plus air yard passes by any 49ers quarterback in a game over the last 3 years. So for those of you who don't like Jimmy Garoppolo, you have fuel to the fire. The Trey Lance impact. I've kind of broken this down a couple of times, and I especially hit on this prior to Trey Lance getting that second career start on Sunday. I really thought that Trey Lance was going to make the offense more explosive. He would make the offense less predictable because he poses a threat as a thrower who can complete every throw on the football field and run the football as an elite athlete, and in turn, he can help out the ground game. The downfield pass game, I thought, with Trey Lance would improve, and drives would be less methodical. I said all of this before that start, and all of this really came to fruition. We saw more explosive plays. The ground game was unstoppable. The downfield pass game was really elite, as evidenced by those next-gen stats. And given those explosive plays, we didn't see those slow and monotonous drives. And I think that's a huge benefit for any offense given the current construct of the NFL here in 2022. Chris Sims, also very high on Trey Lance with what he was able to do. And he kind of compared Lance's ability to Jimmy Garoppolo, saying this quote, "Might sound counterintuitive, but Trey Lance's passing style is less risky than Jimmy Garoppolo's. Throws outside the numbers and downfield where there are fewer defenders, while Jimmy Garoppolo throws it over the middle a lot where there is tons of traffic with small margins of error, and an overthrow, a misfire, a batted ball then leads to an interception." And really, so many times this year, we have seen that happen when Jimmy Garoppolo has been the quarterback of this team. And really, when you dumb down Trey Lance's performance on Sunday, the biggest takeaway is the growth, the development, and the strides that he was able to make from the first drive until the end of that game. He looked like such a raw and inexperienced player at the outset of that game, but then by the end, you're like, man, we see boatloads of potential with Trey Lance, and honestly, there's unlimited upside with this quarterback prospect. He just needed game snaps and game reps to become more comfortable, and he was able to become more comfortable in the span of a 60-minute ball game. That's why I'm high on him as a young quarterback. How about his most impressive plays? There were a few that really stood out to me. The quarterback runs early in the game, while I didn't like the design runs, went to show you the athleticism that he possesses in that body. Then there were a couple of plays that really stood out to me, as I mentioned. Avoiding the safety in the first half to hit Brandon Aiyuk on the run. He felt the pressure, went left, went right, dumped it off for Aiyuk for a first down to give you some breathing room with your end zone right behind you. Then with 21 seconds left in the first half, he hit Aiyuk on a really beautiful dart, and that then set up the field goal right before halftime to put points on the board for San Francisco. Then later on in the game, a third down dart to Brandon Aiyuk, which really was a tight window throw that Garoppolo can't make because he doesn't have the velocity behind the ball that Lance does have. Then there was a play that set up the play-action boot touchdown pass to Elijah Mitchell. It was a climb-the-pocket type of throw from Lance, where he felt the pocket break down, climbed up in the pocket, dumped it off for Hasty to his right, third down conversion, and a couple of plays later, he had Elijah Mitchell on that quarterback boot. Then I loved how he sold the play action on that 45-yard touchdown pass to Deebo Samuel late in that game to really distance San Francisco from Houston. What do I mean by selling that play action? Sold the fake really well, and then he stuck his foot into the ground to really whip around on that play action, which really had the defense shift, and that opened up a passing lane downfield for Deebo Samuel. He is also receiving some praise from the opposition. Some of the Houston Texans were like, yo, this guy in Trey Lance hasn't played a lot, but he can play. Desmond King, who actually intercepted Trey Lance on that underthrow to George Kittle, saying this, in the second half, Lance showed some resiliency coming back and taking care of the ball and making the right choices and decisions out there at quarterback. He has really great potential, and I'm just looking forward to see what he has coming over the next few years. Jordan Jenkins, another Texans player, saying this about Lance: he's a fast guy. He's honestly a little taller and heavier than I thought when we were taking him down, but he is not afraid to take a hit. He is not afraid to fight for that extra effort. He had some good progress out there today. So when the opposition is going as far as to compliment a young player, I think they come away impressed. And if you didn't come away impressed with the strides that Lance made throughout that ball game, I just think you're crazy. So can Lance's ability help him dominate the NFL someday? These physical attributes that we're talking about, they are Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, and Justin Herbert-like. That's at least my opinion. Type I for you're intrigued by Lance's ability. Type T for it's way too early. Get those votes in the comment section right now. Now, when Trey Lance threw that dart 45 yards to Deebo Samuel for the touchdown, I just kind of sat back and watched that ball travel through the air. The biggest takeaway there was that the camera operator didn't have to pan up. It was just a line drive of a throw 45 yards. Now, if you want to marvel at that ball, just like you marvel at your balls, you have to marvel at your stones by using Manscaped, because you'll be able to clean up the nether region with the best men's grooming products out there on the market today and get 20% off and free shipping in the process by plugging in that link down below. It's manscaped.com/49ers. I'm going to put this link in the comment section as well as the description. Trey Lance poses a couple of different threats toward the opposing defense with his ability to chuck it and then pull it down and run it. He's got versatility to his game, just like the Lawnmower 4.0. 4 interchangeable blades, a battery life that lasts forever. There's even a light, so if you got to go down in the grundle, you can do that as well. Other takeaways from Lance on Sunday: 9 of 15 for 205 yards on passes of 10-plus yards, which is really impressive for him considering he is so young. And on the play action, 5 of 8 for 69 yards and 2 touchdowns. A lot of you like that 69 number. Also, every time that Elijah Mitchell got a carry, Lance was under center. How many times do we see young quarterbacks just look so uncomfortable under center because they never get those reps at the high school level or the college level? One of my big really points of emphasis when the Niners took Lance, he took the most snaps under center among all rookie quarterbacks in college throughout his career. And that really does kind of translate to the pro level, especially Kyle Shanahan's complex scheme, which is just several pages deep. Now, for Trey Lance, he can attack you in all areas of the field. And I think that's the biggest difference that we're seeing between him and Jimmy Garoppolo. Lance can dice you up off the play action. He can dice you up out of the shotgun under center, but also he can make throws outside the hash. He can make throws down the seam. He can throw those difficult out routes and those corner routes as well. And he can take the top off of the defense. The same cannot be said for Jimmy Garoppolo. And that's why some people, including me, made the argument, start this guy earlier so he doesn't need a first half to get rid of the rawness like he did against Houston. And if you played him earlier on in the year, he really could be one of the secret weapons in the NFC without having to worry about him being too inexperienced going in to a massive game in Week 18. The insanity of that Deebo throw really was nutty when you think about it. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go back and watch it. The camera operator, again, did not need to pan up to see the rainbow throw. Why is that? Because Lance was able to drive that ball with the flick of the wrist and keep it so low in order to hit Deebo. That goes to show you the arm strength that he has in that right cannon. Now, does this open up an opportunity for Jimmy Garoppolo to get traded? because of the play and progress of Trey Lance. I think you watch Lance on Sunday and you're like, you have to trade away Jimmy Garoppolo. $27 million cap hit next year. You don't want him being a backup at that price. Trade him away. Get back a second-round pick, and I think the Niners can get back a second-round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo because I put together a list of new Jimmy Garoppolo trade destinations. Washington needs a quarterback because I don't think Taylor Heinicke is a long-term answer, and I think Garoppolo is better. New Orleans Saints, he can't move forward with Taysom Hill. Cleveland Browns, Baker Mayfield was a disaster all this year. I think Garoppolo is a better quarterback. Also, less antics for him as compared to Baker Mayfield. And I wouldn't be surprised if Baker goes elsewhere this offseason. Broncos, Steelers, and Texans. 3 more teams that I think the Niners could pinpoint to trade away Garoppolo to. Broncos have a stacked roster outside of quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater is just not a long-term starter. Ben Roethlisberger, he's going to be done after this year. He's been washed for the last couple. And for the Houston Texans, do they give Davis Mills a second year to prove that he can be the guy? Potentially, but if they think that they can win now or over the next couple of years, maybe they pull a trigger on Jimmy Garoppolo. For those of you saying right now, you can't get a second-round pick back for Jimmy G, there are desperate teams for quarterbacks across the NFL landscape. And I can guarantee you this, they are willing to mortgage a second-round pick if that means that they can get a more solid quarterback option, which then leads to teams just being much more competitive. And at the end of the day, Sam Darnold got what back? A second-round pick for the New York Jets and Carolina Panthers? And who would you rather take? Jimmy Garoppolo or Sam Darnold? It is not even close. With more reps, I truly believe that Trey Lance can be very, very special. And he can be just a game changer at the NFL level, a guy who can wreak a bunch of havoc because in the modern day NFL, he can do a bunch of different things. And Kyle Shanahan at his disposal has never really had a quarterback with this level of talent as an athlete, as a thrower, as a runner, and as a guy who in a system that is based on the ground game, that ground game can become even more lethal on top of the pass game as well to make this Niners offense potentially unstoppable with a trio of weaponry, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, and Brandon Aiyuk. So do you think the Niners will trade Jimmy Garoppolo this offseason? Type Y for yes, type N for no. This is going to be one of the biggest storylines across the entire National Football League this upcoming offseason, and you know we're going to break it down and keep you up to date here on the 49ers Report.